Ian did a great job of taking the audience through sort of every level of big budget movie making, and unfortunately it was only an hour or so,
Right.
and he kept apologizing for that. But I think a lot of stuff from
Lord knows you can figure out how to produce a blockbuster in an hour, right?
it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, frankly. But taking through every aspect, from gathering the rights to selling it to a studio to casting to the conversations about 3D.
Was there anything that your fellow panelists said that surprised you, that gave you a new perspective on the way you approach your job?
Well, I think it's, because I'm so familiar with all those panelists, and I learned so much already in my career from those panelists that I wouldn't say surprised, but it was very. I hope it was interesting for the audience to hear that even when you're making a movie of this size, it comes down to story, it comes down to cast, it comes down to the characters. It's not just about how many toys can we sell, what is the, okay, it's been 5 minutes, we need an explosion. All that stuff comes into play on these movies, but the core of it always has to be the characters.
It's funny with the Avengers coming out next year. You're building towards this large sort of group. It's almost the franchise in a way. It's a sort of a meta franchise that you're.
I like that, a meta franchise.
It's yours if you want it.
It's another movie that we're making, and like every movie, it's got to have a beginning, middle, and end, and it's got to have an all-encompassing story that people care about. So it happens to have aspects of all these other films, and it happens to have characters from all these other movies. But our writer-director Joss Whedon's sole purpose is create an engaging story from start to finish that if you've seen none of the other movies, you could enjoy on a great level.
How big a challenge is it to? I mean, you're creating. It's the Marvel universe. It's been known as that since before there were Marvel movies.
For sure.
But in terms of creating this cohesive, coherent thing. I mean, you've got different filmmakers and different stars, and I mean, every film is its own little adventure. How do you maintain a consistency among all those films and among that universe so it feels like a unified, coherent whole?
Well, that is a good definition of what the producer needs to do on those levels. All of our filmmakers have a vision, have a story they want to tell for those individual movies, but they're also all into this idea of this collective grand universe that you're absolutely right has been in the comics for years. So we're not reinventing anything, we're just bringing it to the screen for the first time.